All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. And salutation and much love to you, Akim, out there pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick video on this article I came across. Just going through the current events, so to say, and just came across this article, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, Lord's will is edifying. And Salaki, if I didn't already, the Kahala Yahweh Shem Shai, Bashem Rachakodash, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation, much love to you, Akim, out there pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start reading this, and then we'll go into some scriptures. This is express.co.uk, and it's entitled Nuclear Threat. Russia could be forced to deploy missiles that cover whole of Europe. Russia could be forced to deploy missiles capable of firing upon the whole of Europe, the Russian ambassador to Washington has warned. Okay. and Anatoly Antonov told the Moscow Times on Monday, if the U.S. were to position new missiles in the territory of allied European countries, Russia will respond by deploying their own. He said Russia is concerned that this eventually is more likely now. The U.S. has withdrawn from the Immediate Range Nuclear Forces INF Treaty, signed in 1987 by the U.S. and USSR, and the INF Treaty was an arms control treaty that banned intermediate range land-based ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. So, Russia, they're just saying that they will cover their own ass if America tries to position in these European countries or some of these Baltic region countries like Ukraine. There's some talks that America is trying to help them, NATO as well, actually. NATO, which America is part of NATO at this current time. They're trying to help Ukraine gain some more position in the Black Sea. But America, Russia has already said that they're willing to set their missiles up. All right, and then we already know that their missiles, the Russians have great missile capabilities. It says U.S. President Donald Trump withdrew from the treaty on February 1st this year after accusing Russia of violating the terms, which was all a bunch of crap, because they haven't violated it because they're talking about intermediate range missiles. All right, they ain't saying nothing about those intercontinental ballistic missiles. The treaty was for the intermediate range missiles. It says Russian ambassador Mr. Antonov said, "We are very much concerned that after the decision of the United States to withdraw from the INF Treaty, missiles could be deployed on the territory of America's European allies." He added, "We will be forced to deploy our missiles. And here you will see that the whole territory of European countries will be covered." Okay, so, you see that. Well, let me just finish off. Because you see how the Lord is setting the stage to get the Medes stirred up. He's steering the Medes up, all right, so they can, because ultimately they're going to be one of the main ones leading the charge to America, all right, to destroy America, all right, when they send their troops on the American soil, and ultimately when they send the nuclear missiles to utterly destroy this place, all right. It says he was speaking at the Henry L. Stimson Center, a Washington security think tank, and reportedly displaying a map of Europe. Last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree formally suspending Russia's participation in the INF Treaty. He was warned that Russian missiles could be turned to target U.S. sites in Europe, as well as decision-making centers in the U.S. if their rival were to deploy more missiles in Europe. And I had did a video a couple weeks back on that, going into how that America was trying to set up their missiles there, which this is just a continuation really of it. And then Russia would target those centers, and wherever whoever's pushing the button as well would get it. If you want to check that video out, a couple weeks back, maybe 2 weeks. It said Putin said we don't want confrontation. particularly with such a global power as the U.S. I'm saying this clearly and openly. Russia will be forced to deploy weapons that can be used against the decision-making centers that are behind the missile systems which threaten us. All right, because usually the decision centers are farther than the actual missiles. They're farther away. But what Russia's saying that, look, we have the missile capability. We can fuck your missiles up and the decision-making centers. Because really, Russia, they really don't want the heat. They don't want the smoke from America because they still know America has a great army, great military. But ultimately, it's gonna be the Lord's will, all right, to steer the meats up. It says, First Deputy Defense Minister, Army General Valery Gerasimov, warned that Trump's withdrawal from the INF treaty could foreshadow him abandoning other arms agreements. According to Russia's TASS news agency, he said in 2002, the U.S. unilaterally withdrew from the anti-ballistic missile treaty. Their next step after demonstratively suspending their participation in the INF treaty could be the withdrawal of the new strategic arms reduction treaty. He added that Trump's Space Force announcement could lead to an escalation of the military political situation and emergence of new threats. He said Russia would respond with reciprocal and asymmetrical measures. All right, so Russia, they've stated time after time that they don't want to go to no confrontation, but if they need to, they'll set up their missiles. All right, they will retaliate. Okay, that's what they're saying. All right, so now let's just get into some of these scriptures. This is Revelation 20:8. And it says, and shall go out, I'm just going to get to the point, and it shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, just speaking about the beast system, all right, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. All right, so the Lord is gathering Gog and Magog, which is in the modern day Russia, all right, to the battle, all right, because ultimately, like Spirit said earlier, that's the head on the spear, so to say, that's going to be leading the charge towards the great whore, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, okay? That great city, the mother of harlots. Where was I going? Isaiah 13. Okay. Let's see here. This is Isaiah 13. I'm going to start at 13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that hath no man, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. All right, because what? The Lord is gearing things up here in America, where it's going to be race riots, civil war, complete civil anarchy, okay, unrest, civil unrest. And so people are going to be, in the midst of race riots, people are going to be trying to leave, all right, in the midst of the civil war. And then in the midst of that, there's going to be foreign troops on this land, okay? In verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. So these are some of the things that are going to be taking place, all right, during this World War III, all right, because really USA is going to be fighting a two-front war. They're going to be fighting against foreign enemies and domestic, all right, because people are going to be coming up against the government. There's going to be race riots, all right, people trying to lead a country, all right, just complete chaos here in America, and all while the Russians already are gearing up to destroy this place, and they're going to send troops here. All right, it says, verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in them. When it's talking about the Medes here, it's talking about those Russians, man. All right, so when those Russian troops come in here, and yeah, Russian, they're going to, ultimately, this place is going to be utterly destroyed with nuclear missiles. All right, it don't matter whose troops are here or what's going on. When the missiles get shot, there ain't no stopping them. All right, and these Russian troops, they're not going to care who you are. All right, how much money you got. All right, what's how many followers you have on Instagram. they're not going to have no pity. They're going to come in here and they're going to start bashing your heads, all right, and blowing your brains out. All right, verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So young men, all right, tough guys, they're going to get beaten into pieces, all right. Pregnant women, they're going to die. Babies stomped out, all right. You're going to probably stomp on her stomach till the baby comes out. You know, the little kids, like 2-year-olds, little toddlers, they're going to get punched in the mouth and killed on the spot. You know, it's just going to be all out hell, man. All right, because these Russian troops, these UN troops, all right, these North Korean troops, whatever troops, they all hate you Americans, man. They all look at America with a distaste and a disgust look. Okay, so what do you think they're going to do here, man, when they come over here and finally get their hands on you Americans? They're not going to spare. They're not going to have pity. All right, verse 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did the Most High, Yahweh, overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? With flames and fire, okay? With fire and hailstone. That's the same way America's going out, with fire. This time it's going to be via those nuclear ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are nuclear. Okay, so it's going to be burned up just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, utterly destroyed. This verse 20: it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. All right, so this place is going to be uninhabitable. All right, and the Arabians, you know, because you take a look over there where the Arabians are living today. They live in the deserts, you know, in the middle of like Dubai. Take a look at Dubai; it's just nothing but desert, and then they got their cities and shit in the middle of a damn desert. Well, guess what? Ain't nobody gonna live over here, all right, except for what? Verse 21. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. All right, so only desert creatures, you know, owls and snakes and scorpions are going to live there in the desert. Or, you know, desert animals, desert creatures. And that's after the fire and the smokes, you know, finally subsides. And so it said her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So the time of America's destruction is nigh at hand, and the days is not going to be prolonged. Or the Lord's not going to allow it to go any further. Okay, it's got a set day where it's going to fall, and that's the day it's going to happen. Not sooner, not later. All right, go continue with that. Jeremiah 50:35. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. All right, and you got to remember, 2/3 of our people is going to perish with these heathens in America. All right, the 2/3 that are living here in America, they're going to die with the rest of these heathens. Okay, keep that in mind. Verse 37, a sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Because what? The swords, talking about the instrument of death, the horses, their powers, the chariots, you know, that's going to be all these military troops and their vehicles and their weapons coming in and spoiling. Okay. Verse 38, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And that's clearly not talking about ancient Babylon. Okay, because there's people living in ancient Babylon right now. And like we read in Isaiah 13, that America is going to be uninhabited, all right, and those desert creatures would dwell in it. Well, here's the precept to go with it, all right, and here it is again, verse 40, as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. All right, so that's what's going to happen, plain and simple. America's going to be utterly destroyed via thermonuclear missiles, really spearheaded by Russia, okay. and the EU, China, Iran, all these countries, okay? Mainly Russia. Russia's going to be the top dog, okay? It's going to be eat 'em on eat 'em crying. But verse 41, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And that's going to be Russia with all its allies, okay? They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. That's America. And they're going to be shooting missiles. They're going to be shooting missiles on America, all right? But real quick, let's prove who is it, that, because it said from the north, people from the north and many kings with them. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. All right, Ezekiel 38, I'm going to get straight to the point. All right, verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army. Well, let me start at 3. And thus saith Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn, so it's talking about Gog and Magog, the Russians, okay? And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen. Right? And what's that talking about? That's talking about getting them, the Russians, back into that old spirit, the old Cold War spirit of hating America. And even before the Cold War, when they hated America, right? When they didn't have no treaties, because what eventually those treaties, had them, pretty much conform it with America. But now that they're dropping all these treaties and starting the arms race again, now that's the Lord putting them the hook into his jaws and bringing them back into them old days, okay? Bringing them back into that old hatred that they had for America. And it's taking place as we speak. And it says, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's gonna be the leader. He's gonna be the protector of all these nations that are coming with him. All right, but he's gonna, he gonna be the protector, so to say, of those countries, just like he's protecting Iran, Syria, Venezuela. Okay, well, the prophecies are literally coming to pass, man, and it's just gonna keep getting more and more intense. Okay, let's just close out on this. Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. So the Lord's vengeance is destroy America, all right, to destroy Babylon, which is America. And who's going to be leading it? It's going to be the Medes, the king of the Medes, which is the Russians, man. All right, and ultimately, it's Yahweh Bashim outside putting the spirit on them to destroy America, man. All right, Jeremiah 51:28. Prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes, and we just read some of those nations in Ezekiel 38, and we said that he was going to be gathered. All they were going to be gathered from all the coast. What does it say? Jeremiah 50. It was verse 41, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, talking about the Medes or the Gog and Magog, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And that's talking about these other nations that are going to be raised with the Russians, okay? All right, prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. So that's what the Lord's got proposed for America, and it's going to be executed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim El-Shai, Bashim Al-Kakwadash. This is going to happen soon, Lord's will. All right, but Lord's will, this was edifying. Hey, brothers, keep going, man. We almost out of here. The prophecies are speaking, and hey, real soon they shall know that it was prophet among them. Shalom.